Hey YouTube, this is Eddie's Tech Talk, and this is my review of the Galaxy Z Flip 3. Now, I've waited a while, mostly intentionally, to make this review, and I'll tell you why. The Galaxy Z Flip 3 comes from these line of folding phones, and it's got a lot of questions about durability. I think that's the question that most people are asking about this phone in terms of the hardware itself. Of course, there's an argument to be made, why do we need to go back to the flip phone? We already had flip phones, and now we've kind of moved on from that. So outside of that argument, the number one, I think, question people have is, how does this device hold up? And this is what I'm really going to seek to answer here. I've used this almost every day. I think I switched back to my iPhone maybe twice for 2 days or 3 days. I've used it every single day, all the time. This has been my daily driver, and I think I ordered this phone on release day or like a week after, so I've been using this phone since it came out. That's why I have the black version and not one of the other cool colors, because this was the only version available at release. But anyway, guys, let's get into it right now, straight away. The Galaxy Z Flip 3. Now, the Z Flip 3, it looks pretty nice in this black. I mean, I always like the flashy, vibrant colors, but this is the black version. I have the unlocked version. And let's just take a tour around the device, because if you've never seen one of these, and especially, I don't think the stores do it justice, because the way they have to, like, attach them to their anti-theft like apparatus there, it just doesn't do it justice. Holding this phone is just, it's an experience. I mean, it is, to me, it was interesting in a way other phones hadn't been interesting to me in a long time. You're talking to a guy who's reviewed a lot of phones. You can see the way it fits in my hand here, just really interesting. But along the front of the phone, you can see it picks up a decent amount of fingerprints here, but we have the metal finish. We've got our flash. We've got 2 cameras here. One of these is an ultra-wide shooter, which is something I definitely appreciated. I'm glad they went with an ultra-wide here as opposed to, let's say, a macro lens or something else. So I think what's important to note, this is just an interesting device, of course, to hold in your hand and just to experience, but the biggest change year over year I want to address is this front display. What's different is it's of course bigger, but it's also more actionable. You can do more with it, and it's just more useful. If you get a notification of any kind, it'll pop up here on the screen. You can tap that notification or then double tap later to reactivate the display. But if you tap it, you'll be able to scroll through, read the rest of it, and then you can hit open to open in your app. You can see Samsung Pay is also here. But before we get into that, the biggest letdown, I would say, with this front display is the fact that there's no quick reply features. If you get any kind of messages or anything, that you might want a quick reply to, yes, no, I love you, great, have a good one, whatever, quick replies, those are not available in notifications, which is a major letdown, and in my mind, kind of the singular most important thing this front display needs to do. But that's the biggest knock. The display is clear, it's bright, it's vibrant, it has a lot of you can set your own personality here with these different watch faces. I believe that there's more you can download, but there's quite a few of these, and you can just select a new one, pop it in. There are other capabilities here with the front display. We've got music, and this ties into really any music app you've got going. It's paused YouTube for me before, or Spotify, all that. We've also got weather. I'm not going to show you where I live, hopefully right away, but we've also got the Wear app up. So I have the Galaxy Buds Pro. I can block touches on the touch bar on the side of those, and if you've got a Galaxy Watch, that will also be controllable. I don't find you can reorder the widgets yourself, but I don't find myself scrolling this deep into the widgets that often. I'll usually just open the phone. It'll tell you if you've got alarms, and then there's other widgets you can add as well. So you've got schedule in the calendar, Samsung Health, and timer. So those are all available. Definitely a nice thing to have and something I use every day. So if we go around the device, you can see there is a little bit of a gap in between the displays here. You can see that. We've got on the side here, if we can focus it in, we do have, let's focus it in. We've got our volume rocker here, and this will intelligently adjust actually. So if you're holding the phone like this, the like upward direction of the phone is this way. So if you're listening to something, this is volume up, you know, this piece of the volume rocker. But if you've got the phone open, of course, the part of the phone that's down, right, is now going this way. So then this turns into down, this turns into up, whereas before, you know, with it closed, this is up. So very interesting software design, just something to note there, and it's useful. It makes sense. If I'm holding my phone like this, you know, this one is up, this one is down, whereas when the phone's open, of course, right, it's the opposite. We've got our power button here, which is also a fingerprint sensor. Works well, works every time, pretty great. On the hinge here, we've got some Samsung branding, as you can see. On the back, a whole lot of nothing. I'm not sure if there's like carrier logos here or anything if you buy their versions. And then on this side, you've just got this kind of awkward like IR blaster looking thing. Again, I can't get my camera to focus super well here with the black on black. But right here, yeah, you can see that this cutout, this is where a lot of like the antennas are, so the 5G antennas and those things. It just looks like it should be like a button or something you can take out. Not a huge gripe, but a little one. And then here's the spot for your SIM card tray. No micro SD card here. So now let's break out into what you guys have all been waiting for. We've got the flipping of the phone. So, you know, another feature of this phone is you can pretty much have this open at any angle. Not that you'd want it open at this angle for any reason, but it's kind of like this free hinge. So you can have this angled really in any way that you want. You know, if you're watching something, I've taken some selfies with the front camera like this, and then of course it's in the different fold types, it's unique. You can use the better rear cameras, and you don't need a tripod. You could put it up on a table, you know, take a photo of people outward, and that's been really cool because, you know, if you're just one or two people and you're trying to take a photo, right, usually you're taking a selfie with a front camera that's not all that great. Or at least at minimum worse than the rear-facing cameras, whereas on this phone, if you can just find somewhere to prop your phone up, you're good to go. And I'll get into some of those cool features here in a bit. But anyway, I've owned this phone since release day pretty much, and boom, I mean, you can snap this thing open. You don't have to be babying of this phone. I did it at the beginning. You don't have to, like, boom, you can just flip this thing right open. I mean, you can see that was pretty aggressive. It just opens. I mean, I have, you know, really good confidence in the durability of this phone, even after owning it this amount of time. Here's what it looks like open. And then let's unlock the phone. I'll remove my weather widget really quick here. Boom. All right. So I'll show you that again. We'll just pop open. I mean, you can see how fast that fingerprint sensor really is. Oh, I wasn't hitting it. There we go. Boom. I mean, really fast. And this is what the display looks like. So just a quick size comparison. I will break out the iPhone SE. Not that it's a super fair comparison, but mostly just because it's the only other phone I have lying around. So if you've got an old iPhone 8 at home or an iPhone SE like this one, here's a size comparison between the two of them. Of course, the bezels are bigger, right? Not a fair comparison, but this display is quite a bit taller. And then if we fold this phone up, look how much smaller it is, at least footprint-wise, folded up. Now, I've compared this phone to a lot of my friends' phones and other people's phones. You can see, folded up, another phone is about half the thickness. So you're saving a lot in terms of the vertical footprint, but it is obviously a little bit chunkier folded up. I did compare it to my mom's iPhone 13 Pro Max in a case, and that was maybe a little bit thicker. My buddy, he has an iPhone 8 in an OtterBox, so a big chunky kind of thing, and this was actually the same thickness folded up as his phone was with the case on. And the cases for this, I have one lying around somewhere. They're pretty good, and they don't add a lot of bulk. So if you're a person who today has a phone with a bulky case to protect it, you could maybe get a lightweight case and carry around something with the same thickness. So this is how it's laid out. It's got Samsung's Touch UI. Here's an angle of the photo, and things are pretty quick, pretty snappy here. I mean, everything you would expect from a flagship device. I just love folding this thing. You're gonna get here with the Samsung Galaxy Fold 3. Now, you just saw it reflected in the light what is the deal with the little crease in the middle? And it's, well, of course, when you're folding this, it's going to have this crease. And people have concerns about both the feel of it and the durability. My friends, the first thing they do when they pick it up is they go right to the middle and go up and over the crease in the screen. And quite honestly, you know, if you just took a still screenshot of this, or a still screenshot of this, I'll bring it up with a tab or with some apps, you can't tell that you're looking at it. If you're looking at this phone straight on, which you are most of the time, or even at a little bit of an angle, it's hard to see that there's even a crease there. Of course, if you catch the light, you can see it, but it's just hard to see. And the only real time that you'll notice anything is if you're reading like a really long article and you've got some text going over the crease. You'll see it kind of like dip in and out really quick. So is the experience as seamless as just a candy bar type normal phone that you're used to? I mean, no, it's not, but you're getting that cool factor of, I mean, this is like science fiction technology. It folds in half. And that's kind of the common theme, even still a few months into Flip ownership, is that this phone is awesome. It does a lot, and it does pretty great, but there are compromises for folding in half. I don't think the crease is one of them. Obviously, you have no crease in a typical style phone, but I think the crease is kind of the least worrisome of the compromises here, and I'll get into some of the other ones. So things are good here, but you know, we can take a look up top and see that this battery's pretty low. I've already had this phone on the charger today. The battery life on this phone is pretty bad. I mean, I think people were kind of being a little dramatic online when they were talking about just how bad it was, but I mean, I work from home. I'm home all day, you know, so I can be kind of near a charger, so I'm all right with the Galaxy Z Flip 3, but there's been a couple times that I've traveled and a couple times that I haven't been near a charger, and I've just really needed a charger, and this phone, I mean, it can barely last all day. It's not great battery life-wise, and when you're spending as much as you are on this phone, you want something that, you know, doesn't have a lot of these compromises, and you are having to make some compromises because of the form factor, because of the fold, and battery life certainly is one of them. Now, another compromise, I would say you could make an argument for the durability aspect. Now, I've opened and closed this phone a ton of times every day. I don't think the folding screen is a point of issue, at least for me. People always bring it up, oh, well, will that break sooner? I don't know the answer to that, but so far I've had nothing but confidence in the screen. There's been durability. There hasn't been any scratches. There hasn't been anything crazy. I mean, I haven't noticed any, you know, marks in the display. Everything's been good from a display standpoint. It's just not quite as waterproof as its competition. Typically, the competition has a higher waterproof rating than this phone. But I'll show you guys some pictures as I transition over to the camera right now, and you'll be able to see some of the weather conditions that I was in this phone, with this phone. And there were some pretty crazy circumstances. I mean, it's rained on this phone with the screen open while I'm trying to get directions or text someone or find someone. I've taken pictures in the snow with this phone. So look, I just don't think durability is really a concern, at least not in my ownership of this device so far. But it is worth noting that it doesn't have quite as high of a waterproof rating as some of its competitors, and it has no dust rating. So if you're in a dusty environment, or geez, I would not want this around sand, you know, I would probably avoid this. You know, my other phones, if I have a screen protector on them, maybe I'll throw them in a bag that maybe I took to the beach or has some dirt on it. This phone, I probably wouldn't do that. But other than that, look, everyday use, putting it in your pocket, living your life, even in the rain or the snow, like you'll see from those photos I put up. Pretty good. So let's talk about the camera. You saw some of the photos that were up just now, and the photos and videos from here are pretty good. I'll show you some more, and the camera app is pretty fully featured. I'll show you that as well here. In the camera app, we've got quite a few features. You can turn location of your photos on and off, of course. The biggest thing in here, we've got wide angle for group selfies, so it does have a wide angle front facing camera. I've used that quite a bit. That's pretty good. Video stabilization, auto HDR, location, all those things are in here, typical things. But it's very interesting when you're gonna go take a photo of something. If you just kind of hold up for just a second, and you can again adjust your zoom and those kinds of things, of course, but it probably won't do it here because this is well lit. But in certain situations, if you're trying to capture a landscape or a person or this or that, it can detect that, and it will tell you where to move your phone to take the best shot. And that's been really the coolest camera feature, and I have noticed better shots just by moving the center of the phone into this circle where it says best shot. It's very easy to line up, it's very intuitive, it works, and I think it does produce better shots. So that's some of what you're getting here out of the Samsung camera app that I haven't seen in photos in other phone cameras before. Also, when you're taking photos, something that's really cool, you can of course tilt it up to fold, and it's gonna go into a little different mode because it knows you have folded the screen up, as you can see. And you can also turn on that front cover screen. This is what was the coolest thing to my friends when I showed it to them. So if you're gonna take a photo of someone or something, you can see, hey look, there we are. You can tilt it back and they can see what they'll look like in the photo. Now of course this display is smaller, it's more cropped, so it's not a perfect representation of how that photo will turn out. Someone might say, oh, my head's chopped off or something, and in the viewfinder on the phone, it's not that way, but it's a great preview, and in some cases works pretty flawlessly, and it's something that everyone I know, they really liked that front screen. They could see, you know, how they looked, where they wanted to move, if they were centered, and you could tell if a photo was going to be good for the most part before someone even took the photo. So that is a really cool feature, and I really liked it. There is another camera feature where you're supposed to be able to close the display, double tap the power button, and then have the cover display open. You can take like a selfie like this. I've seen other people do it online, and mine won't do that. I'm not sure why. So you've got everything else that you could imagine from photos in here as well, from a particular photo app. You've got filters, you've got all that. So my overall impression of this phone camera is that the pictures are good, and sometimes it can take even arrestingly great photos, I would say. But in low light, this camera really struggles, and it's just not as good as the competition cameras that are even cheaper. I mean, Google Pixel 6 by all accounts, cheaper phone, better camera. Even the Galaxy S21 I came from, cheaper phone, better camera. So this takes good photos, totally passable, nothing's garbage, nothing's bad, but nothing's gonna be as great as even a little bit cheaper competition. Just another trade-off you have to make. So the only other thing that I would really say is that sometimes the phone can get a little bit hot, and then also because of these raised edges, you can see the raised edges here to stop the phone when it closes, but also just this plastic bumper that's raised, you can see above the screen. Sometimes, you'll just get like dust or whatever, like stuck in between the screen and the little plastic piece. You'll get it stuck like right here, and there's just enough room to like fit a fingernail in between, and you'll just get a piece of dust or whatever stuck there sometimes. And so I have to like blow on it, or like try and get it out with a finger. That does happen a couple times a day. I promise I wipe my counters down and clean my house. So that's another thing. So what do I think of the Galaxy Z Flip 3? Look, it's not the best phone out on the market. It's not. I mean, if you want the best camera, the best battery life, the best screen, you're not going to get it with the Galaxy Z Flip 3. But this is still one of my favorite phones, probably ever. I mean, it doesn't like ignite me the same way that like rooting and custom ROMs did back in the day, and it's not as crazy as to me at least, it doesn't ignite me the same way some other things did. But it's a feat of engineering. I mean, it's a feat of science fiction. It fits in my pocket great, especially my winter coat pocket. It fits in jean pockets pretty good. It's been great. I mean, this phone is awesome. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have all this other stuff, but my answer to that is, but it folds. I mean, it folds in half. I mean, I did have a flip phone. I don't have a ton of nostalgia for flip phones, but I just really like the Galaxy Z Flip 3. I've had someone say, oh, well, how long are you going to keep it? Because you go through phones pretty quick. And, I don't know. I mean, I've really liked this phone, and I plan on keeping it a long time. Now, catch me next week with a new one or something, right? But it's been a great phone. I've really liked it. I've really loved it. I haven't seen anyone else have it, so there's an element of exclusivity there that I like. And I just really like the phone. I mean, it's great. It folds. It's durable. Videos look good. I mean, it's got, good performance. Everything about this phone is pretty dang good, and it folds in half, and it's been a blast. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one.